What is up, Freedom Freedom Inc. family? If you're not subscribed to my main channel, Freedom Inc., go subscribe to it. This is Freedom Inc. Show, and I've been promising I'm going to put these videos out, and I've just been busy. I got hurt last week, and I'm just starting to get back to walking around, because I haven't even been walking around the place. But this video is going to be about some of the struggles that we had when we made our move. Now, mind you, when we made our move, I was the 40-year-old man that made bad choices in life. I had very little money saved up, and so we sold our house, and then we really started pursuing land, because my mindset was, well, if I don't have money, I'm not the guy that, I don't like credit cards. You know, if I can't pay cash for it, I don't even want to buy it. Therefore, if I don't have cash to buy it, I don't even want to look at it, you know. So that's kind of the position I took. Wasn't really the right position. I suggest that you start looking for land prior to your home sale. We sold our home, packed up in this white F-250, and we took off knowing about where we wanted to live at. Came down here, started searching for land. We stayed in a hotel from September 23rd until the second week in November, I believe. That's number 2 mistake. Do not stay in hotels. Now, in our case, we have vicious dogs. Not vicious toward us, vicious toward everybody else. They will eat everybody else alive. Anybody that we tried to get around them, they try to attack, and it's just all bad. So we had to stay in a hotel that would accept dogs. I know what you're saying, that, oh my God, you had a hotel, dogs in a hotel where your dogs would kill people. Well, you know, we factored that in, and we planned ahead of time for that. We had a routine for taking the dogs outside to make sure that nobody got bit. But anyway, that's why we had to stay at a hotel, which costs a lot of money. You figure it averaged about $250 a day for us to stay in a hotel with our dogs, once you consider food and all that other shit, because a lot of hotels don't have full kitchens, and the only ones that will accept dogs that have anything like that, a kitchenette, is La Quinta Inn, where we were looking for land at, and also in Ohio, where we moved from. We try to take care of all your business before you decide to leave. We had more business we had to take care of in Ohio. We still have business to take care of up there, but it's not like it was where we had to be up there for, 3 and 4 days at a time. So we would drive down here, look for land, we would drive back. We would drive down here, look for land, we'd have to drive back. Try to put all that shit behind you wherever you're leaving from prior to leaving. Now, when you're looking for land, there's more than looking for land than just looking for land. You need to know about your mineral rights. You need to check into that. When you find a piece of property, you need to find out everything you can about the property. That's mineral rights, easements, right-of-ways. There's a YouTube channel called Red Tool House. Go check him out. He has some videos on this. The dude is way more fluent talking about this than I am. But you can go do a search, buying land, Red Tool House, or whatever, and the video will come up. The guy was a yuppie who decided to move off grid, and they bought some land way out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, not off grid, but they want to move out of the country. And yes, I'm getting rained on to make this video, but it's all right. I've been promising to do it, so I want to do it. Know what you want to buy. So, like for me, I wanted to buy land that was all woods. And the reason for that, a lot of people are like, well, fuck, that's a lot of extra work, man. If you bought land that had some pastures and maybe a garden, that's that much less work you have to do, and that's right. That's 100% correct. If you can find land that's, when you look at it, you're like, yeah, this is exactly how I would set this up. More power to you. Look for it and buy it. I wasn't finding that. So we started seeking out land that was all woods, and our property is, except for where the structure's at, we'll talk about that in a second, it's wooded. I mean, up here in front, it's all pine and cedar, a little bit of hardwood. You get toward, I don't know, maybe 150 feet into the property. So my property is just about, it's almost a perfect rectangle. So it's 2 acres wide and 6 acres deep, which equates to about 480 something feet wide, almost 1,300 feet deep. What was I saying? Oh shit, I'm sorry, I got lost. Oh, woods. But this is what I wanted. So it goes from cedar and pine to all hardwoods with a little bit of mixed cedar here and there, to all pine in the very back. The back 2 acres it's just a pine forest. So a lot of yellow pine, I always get them confused, yellow pine and white pine. White pine's little, yellow pine's big, or vice versa, whatever. The big, we have a lot of these big ass pines. It's the other pine. Which, if you buy land, so here in Middle Tennessee, there are families that are buying up these large farms. They're parceling them up, they're subdividing them, and then they are logging them, or they're logging them rather, then subdividing, then selling them off. So the timber is not there. If you buy land that hasn't been logged, especially if you're buying 20, 30, 40, 100 acres, that is a big chunk of money. You can go through and do selective logging on 100 acres. And, you know, I know somebody that has 100 acres that did selective logging. You can't even hardly tell the loggers were in there. There's just roads and shit now. It's basically all it looks like. And, you know, they made, I think it was $70,000 for buying land. And that paid for a big chunk of the land. So if you can find land that has, you know, especially hardwoods, a lot of old, you know, older hardwoods that can be, you know, they can go through and log or do selective logging or whatever. You can pay for your land, and if you want a lot of pasture, that is one way you can go through and do some, you know, clear cut, and that will open up the pasture for you. Then you just have to get rid of the stumps. But there's a lot of different things you can do. Know what your rights are. So here in Tennessee, the way the mineral rights works, after researching this, is that if there has been no movement on the mineral right in the last 20 years, it automatically goes back to the landowner, even if it was sold separately. A lot of states like West Virginia, where they have a lot of natural gas, coal, things like that, the mineral rights will change hands separately from the land. If this is the case in a state that you want to go to, and the mineral rights, you don't get the mineral rights with the property, that devalues the property. Now, if somebody, like, say I own the mineral rights to your property, I can't just come in and bulldoze your house over in order to get to the minerals that I have the right to get to, that I purchased, and I now own the right to. That's not how it works. I can come in and basically just kind of stay out of your way and do what I got to do. Yeah, if I can tear up your yard a little bit, I can drill, I can do all that other shit. I can't bother any of the structures or any of your infrastructure. So that's the thing to check on. No, like I said, go to Red Tool House and check him out. He has videos after videos about this, and he's way more fluent about talking to it. But you need to know everything there is to know about the property. You need to do a title search on it, or I guess they call it, he has a title search. I did my own search. Now, there's things to consider when you're talking about this too. So my property exchanged hands from a mother when she died to a son 3 years ago. So I wasn't that concerned with the title search for multiple reasons. Like, you know, and I know it's not smart of me to take a man's word, but you can feel people out. I have a sense for people most of the time. There was that one time with that confidential informant, but other than that, I normally have a pretty good sense of people and can feel them out. You know, the guy that sold me this land, good old country boy. I mean, we could have done it on a handshake, and it would have been it. He, you know, the interest rate when you buy on owner financing can be high. I mean, around here, 12.9% is what they're charging. So if you buy a piece of property, like for instance, there's a lot of times you see around here 3 acres for $30,000. Now, this is not downtown Nashville. Land out here is not worth $10,000 an acre. But if you made bad choices in life, put yourself in a position where you now have to pay more in order to get away from the city, that's just what you're going to have to do. Is it robbery? And you can work with the people a little bit. Like, for instance, with this, he wanted 10% down, 10% interest, 15-year loan. We changed all that. We changed it all to my benefit. It all changed to my benefit. It was just about talking to the guy and saying, hey, like, letting him know where I'm at, my position. And, you know, I even told him, like, dude, I just live 10 minutes from you. You ever need anything, call me. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. You need help, call me, and I'll be there to help you. I mean, that's a big thing, especially when you're an older person who's selling land you don't need. He don't need this land because he owns 60 acres his house sits on. He caretakes for the 130-something acres that's next to him, and then he also caretakes for another 100 acres, and he's allowed to use that property as if it was his own. He can build a house on it if he wants, is what he told me. Like, I don't know if it's a brother or whatever, friend, whatever, but, you know, what's 12 acres when you got, you know, almost 300? So he has a mobile sawmill that is permanent at his house where he can still move it. But anyway, he doesn't need this damn 12 acres. So he was just wanting to get rid of it. So I just talked to him, and I'm like, hey, here's my position. Um, here's what we came to: X number of dollars. What I was, it was going to sell for, what it was worth. That's what we tried to want to figure out first. What's it actually worth? Because he really didn't know, and I really didn't know. So when we walked into the structure, which is going to be our home, initially I thought it was a total loss. There was no saving it. This is at best is going to be a storage building, and we're going to have to build something else. So we're still going to build something else, just not right now, because I don't want to build until I can build what I want and I know what I want. So we agreed that the structure was valueless, but it already had power, it already had septic, it already had city water, and there is not only a hand dug well, we're going to fill that one in, there's a machine dug well also. So those things right there, I mean, in my head, I'm thinking 15 grand. If I had to pay somebody to pull the power, do all that, and the driveway. I mean, the driveway is a big thing. As big as this driveway is, I bet it would cost, if you was to have somebody to do it, I would say around $7,500. Maybe cutting the trees down and everything, 15 grand, 10 grand maybe. But there's, so you have to consider those things too. So then what's the land actually worth? Down here, 3 years ago, you could have bought land for $1,000 an acre. And that was whether you were buying 3 acres or 5 acres or 100 acres. It didn't matter. You could buy 100 acres and get it for $500 an acre 3 years ago. Not no more. You know why? Because everybody is exiting the cities, coming out to these rural areas, especially people that, again, have made bad choices in life, because there's a lot of land for sale here on owner financing. And that's because the people, I started to tell you this a minute ago, there's people buying these large swaths of land, busting them up and selling them for owner financing. All those families that are doing that, or all those guys that are doing that, it's all owner financing. Now you can buy it with cash. If they're asking 34 owner financing, and that's 10% down, 12% interest, you might be able to get a little lower for paying cash. Probably not though, because they know they're going to make that money. There's not much wiggle room there. We wiggled about. He initially wanted 10% interest. And I'm like, how about this? If you cut that to 8%, because his main concern was just, I just don't want this no more. I don't have time to deal with this. But he also, it's money, so he didn't want to give it away, and I understand that. So I'm like, hey, here's where I'm at. If you do this and we do this, I can do this, and I can get you your money faster. Now, in the end, you're going to make less money. What's the worth to you? What's that stress worth to you? And when I say stress, he doesn't know, that if I get hurt next month that I can't pay my payment. Does that make sense? So that's stressful to him, and he'd have to go through all this shit again. So let's cut 5 years out of it, cut 2% off the interest rate. I'll give you X amount of dollars down, and we'll do it in 10. I'm going to try to have it paid off in 5. I should be able to. And let's do it. So he's like, fuck it. All right, let's do it. So that's what we did. That was after figuring out what the land was valued. And we considered, when we considered what the value of the land was, we considered the electric, the city, and all that too. And we just had a conversation about it. He said, well, here's what I think it's worth. And I said, well, I think it's worth a little, probably less than that. But I'm willing to pay that for you because you're willing to come down the interest rate. And if I would have paid the higher interest rate at a lower price, I still would have been paying more money. So I still won. I still made out in the deal, in my opinion. I know I didn't make out in the deal because I'm paying a pretty high interest rate, and that's just a kick in the ass to get it paid off faster. But do your research about the land, and I mean, even the research about the person you're talking to. Like, I don't like doing business with with idiots. You can get on Facebook, you can ask around or whatever. Just, what's this person like, and see if they give you the whole story of it. Now, when it comes to this, he hadn't been in this property for 3 years. It was rented to a lady who had 5 kids. Started out with like 3. She had 2 more in the couple of years, and it was filled. Listen to me. I've lived in not. What are you doing, buddy? Oh, they're under the. I'm sorry, my son's asking me. Here, we'll just wait. Here, just shut it and I'll help you. Don't start taking stuff apart, okay? I know, it's under the intake. We gotta take the intake off. We gotta change spark plugs in my little car. He's up there wanting to start working on it without me. What was I saying? I'm sorry. I hate when that happens. Just do your research, and know what you want, and then go after it. You can do it. I have faith that anybody can do this that wants to do it. And you have somebody like me. I have a lot of friends on here. There's people that have been my subscribers for years. I welcome anybody that is in a position that I was in and is wanting to get out of the position I was in, where you're living in the city, you hate life, the walls are closing in on you. If you want to get out of the city, more power to you. Find a place to go. All of you all, and you all know who you are, you have a place to go. Come here. Stay here until you get established, and then buy land. Stay here while you're going out and looking for land. There's no excuse. If you're wanting to move to this area, there's no excuse for you not to. You don't have to, if somebody would have said, hey, come, stay on my land while you're looking for a place, dude, it would have saved me so much money. But I didn't have that luxury at the time. I probably could have. I maybe could have asked some people and got some stuff down, but they didn't offer, so I didn't ask. Another thing, make sure if you ain't got tools, you better have money for tools, because with a new place, you're going to need them. Unless you buy a place that is already, turnkey, you are going to need these. But I'm going to cut this video off, and I'll make another one coming up talking about these same things. But you can do this. Anybody can do this. You don't have to wait till next year or next whatever. You don't have to wait till you can do it. Just do it. Just do it and get it over with. Because right now you could sell whatever it is you have. If you have a home, you could sell it right now. The day will come when you're going to have to make the choice to leave the home and go, or to stay and take whatever comes your way. That day will come, and it's coming soon, especially with all this shit. The more expensive lumber and all this stuff gets, the harder it's going to be to do. So get with it.